Okay, welcome to Further Westbound. I'm Kevin Finch, director of the film, and joining me in just a moment is our co-producer and editor extraordinaire of the film, Jim Hall. First, a little setup here. We have piles and piles of excerpts from our film on Wes Montgomery called Westbound that did not make the final cut into the actual documentary. And we've been sharing them now for a little while, and we wanted to keep that process going. We wanted to continue to share cool little elements with you. And so we have another one, and Jim has helped put this one together for me. And there were a couple of things that we noticed right away. So this is Billy Hart, and Billy Hart was Wes's drummer in his final couple of years of touring. It was often the brothers. It was often Monk on bass and Buddy on piano and vibes. Sometimes there'd be another musician. There was a Latin percussionist, depending on where they were playing, what they were touring. But Billy Hart was a constant in the last couple of years of touring. And we have talked a lot about in the film and even in some of the excerpts, we certainly talk about Wes as the great musician. The whole issue about whether he was self-taught and all that kind of stuff and what the merits of that are. We've talked about Wes, the composer, Rick Beato, who's a great YouTuber and a musicologist and a producer and everything, really knows his stuff, can talk at length about Wes, the composer. We certainly in our film showed Wes, the family man, but how about Wes, the band leader? Well, Billy Hart is a guy who can help us talk about Wes, the band leader. And so, Jim, why don't you kind of set up what we have coming up here?
Yeah, this interview with Billy Hart, who, by the way, was just bestowed an incredible honor in 2022 as the NEA National Endowment for the Arts Jazz Master. And, it's a who's who of all the great jazz legends. Miles Davis, of course, is also a jazz master. So Billy Hart is a drummer, and the setup to this story is that Wes had a pretty good ear for everything, not just his instrument, but the other instruments. And I guess there was at some point, first of all, it was Billy Hart joined Wes. They were in Washington, D.C. and made a stop, and that's when they needed a new drummer, and it was Billy Hart. After they had been playing together, very short period of time, Wes said to Billy, "There's just something about you need a new cymbal," and Billy Hart was partial to the cymbal that he had been using for probably his whole career, because he was only like, I think, 26 or 27 at this point where he met Wes, and so he took out a wad of cash. And just as a band leader, just said, "You need to fix this. So you go get another cymbal." And Kevin can take it from there as far as you got a wad of cash from Wes Montgomery, when your marching orders are, you need to get a new cymbal. And I mean, and not just that, but he's joining the legendary at that time, Wes Montgomery, and he doesn't want to mess this up. And he doesn't know where there's a music store. He's out in the middle, as far as he's concerned, nowhere, and he needs a cymbal.
Right.
It just so happened.
Yeah, that's right. Just so happened that a very short distance away happened to be Zildjian's headquarters with a showroom full of Zildjian cymbals. And so, Billy was very focused. He had a mission, but he wanted a certain sound. And so let's hear next from Billy Hart about finding that sound, finding that cymbal.
He said, Billy, I don't like the sound of your cymbals. Okay. And I said, well, man, just because you don't like them, that don't mean I can go out and buy some dude. Well, I mean, I didn't say it like that. Well, I know what the song. Who are you talking to? I mean, I can't, I said, well, I like them, Mm-hmm. So he said, man, you got to get a cymbal. Mm-hmm. I said, well, I don't know if I can, you know, I don't even know if we had negotiated money or anything. He just, Wes called me, I was just gone, you know.
Right.
You know, I wasn't like,
Wow.
well, I need,
Right.
no.
I better take the chance and go for it. I got
He
you.
wasn't even taking a chance. He was like, you know, he was Wes. I mean, yeah, I probably would have played for free. You know?
Right. I get it.
You know. So anyway, so when he brought that, I said, well, man, you know, I don't know how much I'll make. I don't know if I can afford. He said, all right, man, go get a symbol, you know, an adjective symbol.
Yeah.
So now I went to the bar, you know. Now I just joined the band, man. I went to the bar and said, look, man, I don't see no music stores around here. You know, I mean, you know, where I can go get a cymbal, any drum shop. And you know what it was? We were playing at a place called Lenny's on the Turnpike. There's a turnpike.
I've seen, you know, I actually have seen a picture of one of the flyer type things, the posters about Lenny's on the Turnpike.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're playing at Lenny's on the Turnpike. And the cat said, well, man, you don't realize. He said, but just 20 miles down the road is the cymbal factory.
Wow.
I said, really? So I went down to the cymbal factory, you know, I guess I got some kind of ride or something, went down to the factory. And you know, it's a room about 4 times the size of this room, right? And you know, and full of cymbals. And you know, I had like an old cymbal, but I'd grown up with that cymbal, and I loved that cymbal.
Right.
So I saw all these brand new cymbals I'd have. It just was too shiny. It didn't have, you know, it didn't have, you know, because I'm from the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was, you know.
Like an old football,
Yeah.
baseball or something.
Yeah, right.
I knew.
Yeah, right. So I tapped the cymbal. I didn't see nothing that I liked. Now I'm saying, but here I am in the world capital of cymbals.
And I can't find it.
You know, but I looked around in the corner, and I was there all day too, just tapping cymbals. So I looked over in the corner. There was up on the wall was a cymbal up on the wall, like an older one. It was still bright and shiny, but it was, but it was older. And I tapped it and tapped it. I said, okay, this is the one I want. And I said, well, Wes had given me $100. So he said, well, you got it. And I said, well, here, man, let me give you this money. He said, man, you seem like you really know what kind of cymbals you like. So if you just sign on the line, you know, we'll give you the cymbal.
Wow.
Right? And do you know, all of these cymbals, none of this has ever been out of the house. I can show you, if I take you in the back room, I know it's so dirty back there, but I got about 6 or 8 cymbal bags of cymbals that I still, I got, in other words, I'm a K zillion, yeah.
Wow.
And that's because of Wes.
So Billy Hart, what an adventure, testing every cymbal in the entire showroom. And they're looking at him going, who is this guy? I love that.
Exactly. And it's just, once again, what are the odds that they would find the place he needed to go at that particular time? Because if he goes back to Wes, think about this, and just says, Wes, I couldn't find a cymbal. I mean, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and you expect me to come back with a cymbal. He came back with a lifelong, he's on the lifelong free list with this is how many years ago? 55 years ago, whatever it is. And he's on the free, to this day, he's never paid for another cymbal. I mean, that's just a remarkable, wonderful story. But to me, it pointed out that there's just so many details in the sound, and Wes as a band leader, that was it. I mean, he picked that sound out. It wasn't because he had played, as you know, so much up to that point. He had spent thousands of hours, so he had a pretty good ear, and he could pick out that the cymbal for Billy Hart needed to be switched out.
So what we learned also from Billy is that leadership, that being the band leader, sure, there was the musical aspect. I don't like the sound of the cymbal, but also telling Billy about clothing he was going to wear, make sure everything that he was dressed perfectly. There was an image Wes had in mind, and he had to make sure that his band all looked professional. And then another thing, Billy tells another story about making sure that he showed up early before every gig, because Wes always showed up early. We have all these people in the documentary who talk about Wes smiling while he was playing, Skunk Baxter and others, that he was having fun while he was playing. He could have fun, but still take his role as band leader very seriously. And that is certainly what happened this time. So anyway, thanks, Jim, for finding that great little passage. And a reminder, if you like what you're hearing and seeing with Further Westbound, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. It's free, and it'll allow us to keep cranking out these videos. So until next time, keep listening Further Westbound.